Today we are going to study ancient texts, cave paintings, cylinder seals, and native peoples' legends to reveal the true gods of the Bible, the creators of man, the Anunnaki Ant People from Nibiru. Let's meet them. Forget everything you thought you knew about ancient gods and extraterrestrial visitors. Today we're talking about a highly advanced species from the mysterious planet Nibiru. And no, they're not just aliens in shiny spacesuits. Meet the Anunnaki Ant People, the true overlords who came to Earth not to guide us, but created us to enslave us. Yes, that's right. The Anunnaki Ant People arrived on Earth to mine one precious resource, gold. And who did they use for the dirty work? Let's just say humanity has some humble beginnings as one of their many slave races. The legends of the Anunnaki span cultures from India to the Hopi, Greece to ancient Australia, from Africa to Cambodia, all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia, the oldest civilization archaeology has identified, even though there were many more before them, just not human, each telling tales of ant-like gods descending to Earth. But here's the kicker. The similarities in these stories aren't just myths. They're evidence of a highly organized, caste-based ant society that stretched across the solar system and touched down here, desperate to extract vital gold from our planet. According to ancient Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki come from Nibiru, a dark planet on a retrograde elliptical orbit that only swings near Earth every 3,600 years. Conditions on Nibiru are harsh, and its atmosphere now relies on suspended atomized gold particles to reflect and retain heat. The solution? Mining planets, especially Earth, for the gold they so desperately need. And when they arrived, they didn't just bring spaceships. They brought their whole society, a hyper-organized ant-like civilization with a rigid caste structure that mirrors the world's most disciplined ant colonies. Think about it. Ant societies are organized to the extreme. At the top of the hierarchy, you've got the queen, who's not just some random egg layer, but the genetic origin of the entire colony. In the Anunnaki Society, the king of Nibiru, Anu reigned supreme, dispensing orders and, like a celestial queen ant, ruling entire dynasties of workers and soldiers. His orders were absolute, his command the ultimate law. Then there are the workers, the tireless laborers who built, maintained, and mined. They carried out the grunt work in a society where obedience was bred into their very being. This structure was replicated right here on Earth when they made us, the humans, a new worker caste, one of many they used to dig, build, and even wage their wars. It's almost poetic. Just like ants, the Anunnaki have a meticulous division of labor. Each caste was specialized soldiers for protection, workers for mining, caretakers for managing the Anunnaki's genetic creations, and scouts who explored new lands for gold. When they arrived on Earth, they designed humans to fit one single purpose: manual labor. Our DNA was molded, our physiology tuned to suit their needs, strong enough to endure but limited enough never to rebel, or so they hoped. In Sumerian mythology, they're portrayed as gods, but gods doesn't quite cut it. They were masters of genetic manipulation and supreme manifestors and manipulators of matter, and we were, well, slaves. Just like ants in a colony, we were bred and set to task, under the watchful antennae of the Anunnaki elites. And here's where it gets interesting. The Sumerian carvings of these beings often depict elongated skulls, and in Cambodia and Australia, we see splayed hips, features more reminiscent of ant anatomy than human. It's as if they were trying to blend in but couldn't quite shake off their insectoid heritage. Recorded by civilizations across the planet: Africa, India, North America, Saudi Arabia, China, Japan, in Europe and the Indus Valley. Some scholars believe these skull shapes were simply hats, however, wrapped around their elongated skulls are their feelers, antennae structures that genetically became our hair. As we see in Cambodia, the Anunnaki have ant feelers. So, how did the Anunnaki maintain control over a sprawling empire that spanned planets? Through sophisticated communication technologies involving wormholes and interdimensional systems, like the way ants control their colonies. Ants release pheromones to send messages, from alarm signals to trail markers leading to food. The Anunnaki, they had advanced telepathic control over their slave species using biochemical and instructional mind commands to keep everyone in line. If you think mind control is science fiction, consider that ants around us practice a primitive version of it. When they signal for a new nest, the whole colony follows. The Anunnaki used a similar system on a massive scale, releasing commands across worlds to their enslaved colonies. This is swarm intelligence on a galactic level. The Anunnaki weren't just miners, they were farmers in the truest sense. Just as ants cultivate aphids for honeydew, the Anunnaki cultivated humans for labor, food, and resources. It wasn't enough to just mine the gold. They needed an entire ecosystem that could support their empire. So they taught humans basic agriculture, not to advance us, but to keep us self-sustaining on a basic level, ensuring a continuous supply of worker drones. This form of farming wasn't benevolent. It was designed to minimize their need to intervene while maximizing productivity. Our so-called civilization may well be the ultimate ant farm, kept in balance by invisible chains from our ancient overlords. Ancient mining sites across the world bear the hallmarks of their presence. South Africa's gold mines, believed to be over 100,000 years old, seem to be the relics of the Anunnaki's first human-run extraction sites. And then there are the subterranean tunnels, vast, interconnected systems mirroring an ant colony's intricate pathways, except scaled up for interplanetary overlords and their human labor force. Then, when we study Uluru in Central Australia, we notice it resembles the inside of a termite mound, a giant one at that. It's no wonder that stories of ant people aren't just found among the Hopi. From ancient Greece to India, cultures worldwide depict insect-like deities guiding, ruling, and sometimes punishing humanity. It's as if, subconsciously, we remember our masters and the dark corridors we once trudged through to mine their gold. Now, why didn't humanity simply rebel? Well, they did, and were almost destroyed as a result. We see these stories too in ancient texts and legends. Like in ant societies, loyalty and obedience were bred into us. The Anunnaki perfected genetic control. Just as ants are conditioned to sacrifice themselves for the colony, humans were designed with instincts for obedience, fear of authority, and just enough ambition to work harder, not smarter. When the Anunnaki soldiers came down to enforce control, there were whispers of rebellion and removal of the dominant civilization on Earth, the Ra Confederation. Just as an ant colony will immediately respond to threats, humans responded to their overlords, and after a brutal global war, as depicted by the Nazca lines, man began to cement his place as the ruler of Earth. Initially at the top of it all sat King Anu and the Supreme Council on Nibiru, the rulers of the Anunnaki. Ruling Earth were Anu's two sons, Enki and Enlil. Enki, nominated ruler of Earth, was the master geneticist, managing mining in the Apsu, South Africa. Enlil, commander of Earth, ruled from Mesopotamia. Enki was tasked with creating new worker classes after their homegrown slaves, the Igigi, rebelled and were slaughtered. After many failures and hundreds of civilizations spanning thousands of years, Enki finally created man. His sister, Ninurta, volunteered for the dangerous yet life-giving role of surrogate mother, bearing the first human, known in the Bible as Adam. King Anu immediately called for Adam's destruction as he could see that humanity's initial subservience would give way to destructive rebellion. So here we are, thousands of years later, surviving many extinction-level events designed to remove us, such as Noah's flood and the global tsunami in the Book of Daniel, to name only two of many. The question remains, are the Anunnaki still among us? Are we once again running headlong into a brutal world-erasing cataclysm? Have we moved too far from acknowledgement of our true heritage, finding ourselves enslaved to our egos? Heading like Sodom and Gomorrah into assured destruction, just to become another mythical Atlantis for a skeptical future civilization? Are the whispers of control embedded in our DNA? Were humans built to serve, or is this ancient programming something we can shake off? Next time you feel an itch to mine, build or labor for another, ask yourself, is it really my choice? Or am I simply obeying an ancient pheromone-driven DNA mind command from the Overlords of Nibiru? Like and subscribe if you're ready to dig deeper into humanity's true origins. Leave a comment with your thoughts. Thanks for being here.